Whose idea was it for you to turn heel, and who came up with the model gimmick?
Okay, that was my idea to turn heel. I mean, because I thought as far as babyface, I had done everything that could be done as a singles, tag team. So I thought that my gimmick, I thought I wanted to be a heel, and I went to see Vince with that. I mean, they almost laughed me out of the room, you know.
He did
Vince didn't see me as a heel. Pat Patterson either, you know. So no way, you know, you're a baby face. Everybody likes you, and yeah, because I guess I mean, I always get along with everybody in the ring. I mean, in the ring and outside, and the people and all that, and they couldn't see me as a heel, you know. They just couldn't. I said, yeah, I know I can do it. You know, I know it. And Vince, no way. And finally, I said, look, Vince, if you don't do it, I'm going to go elsewhere and do it. You know. Oh yeah. Well, finally, I gave my notice, and that was it. I left. You know. So 2 weeks later, I mean, I get not 2 weeks later, but a few days later, I get a call and say, look, why don't you come with us? I lived in Cocoa Beach then, so says, why don't you? We're in Jacksonville. Why don't you come up and we'll talk about it? So Vince sat me and Pat Patterson and said, look, okay, we'll do it. You want to do a heel thing, but we're switching Macho Man, right now. If we switch you, it might take away, So why don't we'll do it, but we'll do it slowly. Maybe we can start it. So he says, we're doing TV tomorrow in Tampa, so why don't you come and start a couple of little interviews, maybe a little bit. And so I go there, and then finally when I go to Tampa, it's all changed. I mean, they want me to do a complete babyface interview. So right away I didn't say a word. I says, look guys, I'll be right back, do somebody else, and I'll be back, And I left there. And I said, hey, hell no, I says, I'm not going to wait. 2 weeks later, I'm at home, I get a call, Rick, it's Vince, oh man, because I already had called Japan and I had booked myself, to other places. So he says, listen, he says, I know what you want and, it's okay, look. He says two things, I remember these words, exact words. He said, look, WWF don't need Rick Martel and Rick Martel doesn't need WWF. So let's go from there. So I'm sure we can work something out. So I came back and we talked about doing it somehow, and then, with Tito and all that, and yeah, very good. So then I didn't have a gimmick, right? So I said, well, what gimmick? I didn't know. I thought about the whole thing, but I didn't think about a gimmick. I know I want to be a heel, but what? So he said, I get a call. I mean, I get a meeting with him and J.J. Dillon, and he says, we're going to call you the model. So I guess J.J. Dillon came up with that thing, because I used to, like to dress up, and they said, well, I'd see Rick as a model, it would be great. So I remember I called my wife that night, I says, oh man, I said, Joanne, I says, the gimmick they came up with me is the model. I says, what am I going to do with that? She says, well, just be thankful they didn't come up with a gimmick like the Rooster. So it could have been worse, because... if you remember the gimmick, with the red thing, I said, well, you have a point. So then, from then on, I started, creating the character, I says, well, maybe the runaway deals, with and the whole thing, I started so that's how it started.
Did you like doing the gimmick?
I loved it. Man, because all those years as a babyface, it's like, let's say you work in a department store, and of course there's a lot of nice people. Some people would like to say, hey, listen, you bitch, if you don't like this, screw it and get out of my fucking store. But you can't say that because you have to be same thing as a babyface. You hear all kinds of comments, but you want to get a lot of frustration in there. But finally, as a heel, you can let all that heat ventilate, and say whatever you want and whatever, And as a heel also, you can create so much more. Mm-hmm. The creative side of it is, and creating, and that gimmick, the model there, that was so much fun. I really enjoyed it.
Were there ever any plans for you to do a program with Hogan at all?
No, never.
And memories on the Blindfold match with Jake.
Oh man, oh yeah. Jake, first of all, Jake is. I really, really admire Jake's, his business sense. They're almost, same as Curtis Hayakea. I'd say his ring psychology, his interviews. Very parallel with Curtis Hayakea. I'd go in there, with Jake, and man was like dancing with was like dancing. I mean, everything was smooth and really clicked together. But that was from there. That's when there was a turning point in my career as far as me starting to look the other way towards the real estate business. Because I remember in '90 that happened in '91. When I did the angle with Jake. I'd lost my sister at 42 years old, and I had seen her for this last several years, and I was really close to her. And she died that spring. WrestleMania was in March, at the end of March, and I lost her at the beginning of March. And I was depressed there, and I said, I got to go back home, and I got to get out of this business, and I got to get into, at least I saw that if I get into real estate, I'll be close to my family, and I was missing my family, and I remember I went and gave my notice to Vince. I said, look, after the Blindfold, that's it. I get out. I'm out. But the angle, the Blindfold. I remember we tried it before in Florida, in West Palm. We had a trial match. Because you could hardly see. And how and Jake says, look, just follow me, and we'll just go there, and but we pulled it off, and it felt comfortable in West Palm and everything. It felt great because the pay-per-view. I mean, you don't want to try something out at the pay-per-view, with a thing. I was so nervous, but it worked out pretty good.
Memories of your series with Tatanka.
Yes, I enjoyed working with Tatanka, but again. I came back. I was like a teacher type thing. They wanted me to work with them, to teach them things, and to work with them. But my heart wasn't in it, and that was it. But I liked to work with him. He was good.
And why did you leave WWF at that time? It was just...
Well, I came back because I had quit, like I said, after I lost my sister, and I had quit, I think it was a year and a half or 2 years. And then I came back for a financial reason because, my business was developing a lot bigger than I expected. And I need some funds, real quick. And I came back to business just for money, And I did what I did, it was good. And as soon as I got enough money together, I came out again.
Were there ever any plans or attempts to get you in ECW?
Yes. In fact, Paul was back in WWF, with the Grand Wizard. Paul was a lot with him, And I remember the first night I met Paul, he came in, as a young kid, and I was real nice with him, like maybe everybody else. And I guess he liked that, and I made a good impression on him. And I loved Grand Wizard. I loved that guy. And since he was his friend, and so I spent some time with him, and I was really nice to him and made an impression on him. And so I remember we were with Don Callis when we were in Boston, and ECW were there, and I went there that night to see them and to see Paul, say hello to him. And I remember he came in and said, Rick, he says, man, he says, you got to come here. He says, you tell me. I said, look, I says, Paul, I said, it's not my thing. These things, I said, look, I said, I can't. No, we'll do it whatever way you want. We'll work, with you. Whatever, 100%. You tell me who you want to work with and what you want to do. He gave me carte blanche, whatever. And I said, look, Paul, I said, thank you very much. But, I said, I have other